1st of April today, and it's a bit blustery down here at the boat, and it's a bit cold. It's about 35 to 37 degrees, but it's time to install the engine monitor. So I've got the engine monitor here, and I'm going to install it. So we've got to get power to it. We've got to find a location for it first, then we've got to get power to it, then we've got to set up all the one wire. There is 5 of these one wire sensors to go in various locations around the boat. The bilge float has also got to go in, and then the oil pressure sensor, and RPM gauge. So that's got to go to the back of the alternator. So that's what I'm doing today. So location wise, I think I've found the right spot. I'm going to stick it right here, which will be below the floor level, but higher than the exhaust that's there. I'm not going to stick it there right now though, because I'm going to run all the wires first. But basically, I'll run everything back to this location. It'll be easier to attach things when it's not already bolted down. So I'll do that now. So this is the mixing elbow here, and accordingly I'm going to put a temperature sensor on there. I'm going to use one of these one wire sensors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to strap it to the mixing elbow somehow, like this, and see if I can get a piece of wire around it to hold it in place. That's somewhat held in place. I'm gonna do some other things here. I'm gonna put another piece of wire on, and that should be good. I'm gonna cable tie this to the tube and lead it, and then crimp the connectors on it first. And that's that one done. So I'm gonna try to get the sensor underneath one of these mounts and see if I can get it close to the side of the barrel. You see this here, how it's all crispy? This was the label, and that was basically from when I had issues with incoming water. The impeller wasn't sucking because of barnacles in the intake, so it overheated, and that's what I want to try and avoid. So by putting these sensors in various places, I'm trying to avoid that. It's pretty much too late once the system overheats. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. So hopefully I can do this and without knocking this camera off. I think that's pretty good there. I've got glue all over my hand from where this label was, so I might actually take that off at some point. But this now, I'm just gonna thread through here pretty much it. It's going to sit there until we're ready. The next one I'm doing is going to be for the aft cabin. It's basically the temperature of the aft cabin. So what I'm going to do is, what I did is just drill a little hole here, and I'm just going to drop the cable down the back, which means it'll drop out here, which is where the device is. So it'll come all the way through from there to there. I'm going to do that now. Let's see if I can grab it. It's got to be in there somewhere. Perfect. So this is the pressure sensor, the pressure sender that sends the oil pressure back. It's screwed into an oil connection, and will read the pressure of the oil. Now I've just added this blue wire here, which goes all the way back, and alongside it a temperature sensor. Now the temperature sensor, as you can see, is held on with a ring of wire. I'm not sure that's going to be enough, particularly for this one, because of the engine moving backwards and forwards and so on, and then no other like strain relief on the wire, so it might just fall out. I might end up, before it goes in the water, I might end up putting a hose clamp on there to hold it in place. I've got a couple around, so I might just do that. As you can tell, it's pretty windy in here today. But if you've got any advice, let me know. If you've got any comments on that, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So that's that disconnected. Right, now I need to take it off from the front. There's a bolt under here that I'm gonna have to take off. Yep, as well. So that's that one out. Now I think it's just a case of pulling this forward. Pull this top bolt out here and then sliding it off. So it might drop like this, but I think currently it's lying on something. Right, there we go. Just when you do that, just be careful of the things around it. And there we have it, one alternator. So I'm just taking all these connections off. Well, this. So we got that last bolt out. Captain Phil's here helping me. What we did is we pulled the cover off. So the cover's right here. We pulled it off the top. It basically just slides right over. You have to make sure that the brushes stay engaged, and the brushes are down here. And then what we did is we looked for the 3 contact points, and we basically soldered a wire to one of them, and then we were able to run it around the side here and up by the side of this one, And the reason we did that is because on the cover there was a hole there, so we were able to basically use this hole and go back through. So if we put the cover back on now, we put a grommet in there to make sure that it didn't chafe on the metal, and now we're going to thread it. I'm going to thread it back on and then slide the whole thing back together. Phil had already done the same thing on Nautical Sun, but it was slightly different. This one is the 336 3GM30.
This is the 55 amp. I have the 35.
55 amp version, whereas Nautical Sun has the 35 amp version.
3GM.
But it's pretty much very similar, and you just gotta wiggle it a little bit to try and get everything lined up, and then it goes back together. And once you got it back together, you can adjust everything to make sure that it's that the grommet lines up and everything, and then turn it upside down and do a spin to make sure that it's not fouling on anything.
There it is.
So now it spins freely. All right, so we're putting the nuts back on. Basically got it through the holes here. It's a bit fiddly. Just make sure that these don't get knocked down. That's what happened to us, so we had to do it again. Then put the insulators on. The insulators go on all three, and then the washer goes in the battery one and the earth one. Doesn't go on the other one because nothing goes on this one normally, except on mine I'm using it as the earth for the ESP, so it does. But so basically I cut a piece of plastic here and run the piece of plastic across the two sides. I measured it to make sure it fit. Then I drilled a hole in it and put the Bilge sensor in there. If I push it up now, it will give me signal on signal K. Yeah, as soon as the water comes up, it will lift up. I wasn't quite sure how to fix this in place, so for now I just hot glued it. I actually just hot glued it in place, and it's pretty stable. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but I'll monitor it, and then I might put a screw through here. But I was a bit worried about doing that in where it is, so I might not. I'm going to tidy up the wires. I'm going to pull those out and run them underneath this inside the bilge. And then we'll go from there. So people are asking where I'm going to tie in the power. Well, I'll show you. So this is the helm, the center console of the boat. Steering is there. There's usually a trash can that goes here, storage or whatever. And down there, right in the corner, well, firstly you can see the Diana and a USB hub. But below it, there's a fuse box below all that crap. It's right down there. You can just see it there. So I tied it into there. It's just a pain to get to. I've just powered up the ESP device. It is the engine monitor. So if you look in my Wi-Fi here, you'll find that there is a hotspot for it. And the reason for that is because I reset it. Because I reset it, it goes back to defaults, and therefore you have to basically connect to it. So here's the engine monitor. I'm going to connect to it, and it asks for the network key. And the network key is this is fine. You can find that in the instructions, and it should log on to that now, and it should bring up a page. And when it brings up the page, we can now configure Wi-Fi. So I'm going to connect it to Après, to the boat, and the password and then save it, and basically it will attach to the boat Wi-Fi, and it will try to talk to signal K. Right, so we're at signal K now, and in security we should have an access request. So you can see here there's an access request. If I go here, it will be for, you can see ESP, SensESP device, Après engine monitor. So click on that, and then authentication, timeout, never. I'm going to do that in capitals. And then approve. Now it's approved. We should see it in the dashboard. So we should see the device in the dashboard here, which we do at the bottom here. And we should see it start to give data. So it's starting to send data. And if we now go to data browser, and because I have a lot of stuff connected, that it's just, there's a lot of stuff in here. What I'm going to do is actually filter. So in the search here, you can filter. So if we know that basically they all start with WS, then we can filter just to the stuff coming from the ESP device, because it's basically sorting by this now. I'll filter into this. So the Bilge is showing up there. These first three devices are the I2C BME 280. Then we have the fuel rate, the oil pressure. Oil pressure is 0, it is connected now, so that should work. Oil temperature, now that's the first one-wire device. I only got one connected right now, so you can just see that. And then we have propulsion engines revolution, obviously that one is off as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and connect another one-wire device. I'm going to do these in order, one by one. I'll come back here and make sure that they're connected. So now I've added the aft cabin, and you can see that here, aft cabin temperature 281 right now. So it's a little bit warmer in there than it is in the by where the oil temperature is. So now I'm going to go add the third one, and the third one is exhaust elbow. So I just connected up the one that's connected to the exhaust manifold, and it actually says intake manifold temperature here. So I may have specified that incorrectly, and I can adjust that, but basically I know what it is, so it doesn't matter really. But you can see it's showing up now. I'm just about to add the other two. So again, I've just connected another one, and now showing up here is the exhaust temperature. So that's the fourth one. So we have 4 now, and I'm just going to go connect the final one. So this is the fifth and final one, electrical alternator temperature, and we've got the temperature for that as well. So that's all 5 of them now. So that's all the one-wire stuff connected. These oil pressure, RPM, and fuel rate, we can't test until we're in the water, basically.